Good morning, students. Last 2, 3 classes, we completed how to measure indicator power, how to measure brake power, how to measure friction. Once we are capable to measure these three things, then we can do the performance analysis of internal combustion engines. It may be spark ignition engine, it may be compression ignition engine. We can measure any type of engine performance analysis. So coming to the mechanical efficiency, what is mechanical efficiency? The brake power to the indicator power means the heat energy is available inside the cylinder. There is no doubt. From the heat energy, how much mechanical energy you produce, not from the chemical energy. The fuel have some chemical energy. From the chemical energy, how much mechanical energy you produce, it is called thermal efficiency. But from the chemical energy, you develop the heat energy. From available heat energy in the cylinder to how much useful mechanical energy we produce is called mechanical efficiency. Brake power to the indicated power. Once we determine the brake power, indicated power, or brake power, frictional power, brake power plus frictional power, we will get the indicated power. So out of these three, two you determined means third one you can calculate, and you calculate the efficiency. Mechanical efficiency of the system is brake power to the indicated power. And mechanical efficiency basically uh, speed means throttle acceleration. The mechanical efficiency generally based on the speed. Speed how we will get it based on the acceleration. Throttle valve opening of the carburetor or injection. So generally at normal speeds we will get mechanical efficiency for new engines will get up to 90. Means fuel economy range they are giving in speedometer green color. That's a normal range of speed. That speed is 1800 to 2400 revolutions per minute. There you will get the 90% efficiency. If you are further increasing of the speed, the mechanical efficiency is decreased to 75%. Least is 75, highest is 90. 100 practically not possible. Some of the energy must be lost by the due to friction. And next, if less than 50 percentage, we can condemn the engine. We are not using that engine. Because out of available heat energy, not chemical energy. From the chemical to mechanical maximum 30%, 20%, 25 to 30% only. But heat to mechanical, in the we are the efficiency is less than 50 means we can absolute the engine. We are not using for the running purpose. For only demonstration purpose we can use in our labs. Next parameter specific fuel consumption means how much mass flow rate of the fuel is required for production of 1 kilowatt power. How much mass flow rate of the fuel is required for production of 1 kilowatt power. The mass flow rate we are giving kg per hour. Okay. So mass flow rate of the fuel we are calculating generally kg per minute we are calculating, or meter cube per minute we are calculating, meter cube per second we are calculating. Then we are converting to kg per hour and substituting. Specific fuel consumption means mass flow rate by power output. Units are kg per kilowatt hour. Units are important. The specific fuel consumption unit universally in SI system we are using kg per kilowatt hour. What it is meaning is how much kgs of the fuel per hour required to produce of the 1 kilowatt power. That power, if it is brake power, then it is called brake specific fuel consumption. If that power is brake power, then it is called brake specific fuel consumption. That power is indicated power, then it is called indicated specific fuel consumption. That power is brake power, then it is called brake power, brake specific fuel consumption, the power output. The power output is indicated power, then it is called indicated specific fuel consumption. That's all. But what is the parameters influencing the specific fuel consumption? You increase the stroke length or displacement volume, the specific fuel consumption is reducing. We are reducing frictional power, because number of cycles we are reducing per minute. Automatically it is increasing the life of the engine. Automatically it is reducing the fuel consumption. Second, increase the speed. At up to a particular speed, the specific fuel consumption will reduce. Later again it will increase. Means at particular throttle opening, acceleration opening. At particular opening you are maintaining acceleration at a particular pressure. You will get the best fuel economy, best mileage. Later further increasing or decreasing, automatically your mileage will reduce. That's why in a AA, two-wheelers or four-wheelers, everywhere, in speedometer you can notice that point. Green color they are giving 40 to 60 for two-wheelers, four-wheelers 60 to 80, like that. So that speed range is the optimum throat opening range. In that range only we will get the optimum specific fuel consumption. Remaining all, it's less or higher, the specific fuel consumption will increase, not decrease. Next, coming to the engine thermal efficiency. The engine thermal efficiency means actual heat output to the theoretical heat input. Actual heat output by the theoretical heat input. Theoretical heat input means that's the mass of fuel supply, that's all. Heat input equal to mass of fuel supply and calorific value and efficiency of the combustion. Generally we are assuming efficiency of combustion is 100%. So mass of fuel supply into calorific value, it's the actual heat supply. And actual heat output, it may be indicated power, it may be brake power. Actual power output by heat supply. If the power output is indicated power, then it is called indicated thermal efficiency. Indicated thermal efficiency means indicated power to the heat input. Heat input means mass of fuel into calorific value into efficiency of combustion. So generally indicated thermal efficiency, theoretically, typically the range is 50 to 60. Generally 50 to 60 indicated thermal efficiency. Coming to the brake thermal efficiency, it is the actual heat input. This is the actual thermal efficiency of the engine. When power plants we are calculating net work output by heat supply. This is the net work output. Brake power is the net work output. After subtraction of the friction power only, ready to use energy is the brake power. So brake power, brake thermal efficiency means brake power to the rate of heat supply per cycle. There is a mass of fuel supply and calorific value into efficiency of the cycle. The brake thermal efficiency generally it is around 30%. If 30% is there means okay, it is a reasonable engine. Indicated thermal efficiency 50 to 60. Because mechanical efficiency range is 75 to 90. You can cross verify the efficiency ranges. There is no issue. Next, coming to the volumetric efficiency. Volumetric efficiency means actual mass sucked in the suction stroke, actual mass induced inside the cylinder in the suction stroke to the displacement volume, to the theoretical displacement volume. That's all. Actual mass flow rate by theoretical volume. In that volume for the actual density at atmospheric density, how much mass we can accumulate inside the cylinder. That is a rho into displacement volume. This is a theoretical. Actual means actual mass flow rate of the air we are calculating. Actual mass suction is taking place. Mass of air by rho into displacement volume. If it is for CA engines, I am discussing at present first. CA engines I am discussing. If it is 2-stroke, if it is 4-stroke, every 2 revolution of the crankshaft, 1 suction stroke. So multiplied by n per cycle. This one mass flow rate of air sucked divided by displacement volume, rho into displacement volume is called per cycle. What is the volumetric efficiency? So overall, because mass flow rate we can't measure per cycle, per minute we are measuring, per second we are measuring. Then Per minute, suppose per minute mass flow rate I measured, actual mass flow rate means, then divided by rho into V into N, speed. If two stroke engine, N is only direct speed we are considering, because every revolution of the crankshaft we are producing the power stroke. Suppose it is a four stroke engine, we are not considering. Every two revolution of the crankshaft, one power stroke is coming, so N by 2. So 2 mass flow rate, actual mass flow rate by rho into displacement volume into speed. Suppose SI engine, here mass and air fuel mixture combined it is entering into the cylinder. So mass of air plus mass of fuel. Same equation divided by rho V into N. If 2 stroke N only, 4 stroke 2 N by 2, then 2 into mass of air plus mass of fuel by. Generally, the volumetric efficiency for spark ignition engines. Why? Because spark ignition engines we are not using any turbocharging, supercharging. Why? Because it leads to knocking, detonation of the engine. Unnecessary vibrations are creating, damage of the valves, damage of the piston rings, damage of the cylinder head will take place. So generally, spark ignition engines we are not doing supercharging. The spark ignition engine volumetric efficiency is varying from 75 to 90. Coming to compressor ignition engines, coming to compression ignition engines, in compression ignition engines we are doing supercharging, turbocharging. 50% excess efficiency we will get, volumetric efficiency. So compressed ignition engine volumetric efficiency we are getting more than 100, because compressed air induced to the cylinder in the suction stroke in CI engine for reduction of delay period, for reduction of knocking tendency, we are using supercharged condition for CI engines. And for by using of the waste heat, supercharging, how we are doing turbocharged engines we are calling, means exhaust gas have some pressure. By using that exhaust gas pressure we are running turbine. Turbine another end is connected to the compressor. Compressor is compressing the inlet air. So indirectly we are using waste heat, waste energy for compressing the induced air. So it is efficiency enhancement also is taking place, and we are reducing the delay period, and it leads to reduction of the knocking tendency. So only CI engines volumetric efficiency is high, more than 50%. Excess, more than 50% excess air we can induce inside the cylinder. Next, specific power. Engine power to the piston face area. What is the specific power of engine? Means how we are calculating engine power output, means brake power divided by the piston face area. Next, specific weight, engine weight to engine power. So engine weight to the engine brake power, how much brake power we are getting. Then engine weight to the engine brake power, we will get the specific weight. Next, relative efficiency. In the competition exams, so many times they ask relative efficiency. It is the ratio between brake thermal efficiency to the air standard efficiency. So these are the efficiencies we are calculating. If once you calculated brake power, indicated power, friction power, then you can calculate all types of the efficiencies. Okay. Next, move to the efficiency of the representation with the SI engines. We are increasing speed, the friction power increasing, brake power reducing, indicator power will increase. Why? Because you are giving acceleration. You are increasing the throttle opening more, automatically it is reducing the torque. If you want, why? Because brake power is reducing, friction power is increasing, automatically it is reducing torque. So optimal speed range we are maintaining means optimal torque we can get. That's why low speed, if torque is required, we are moving in low speed. Next, same performance analysis of direct injection engines and indirect injection engines. There you can see the brake power, direct injection engines, brake specific fuel consumption with respect to the fuel supply. Speed, after some speed it is reducing, later it is increasing, and brake mean effective pressure also is reducing, its speed is increasing. Is brake power is reducing. You see, the brake power, if speed is increases, automatically brake power is reducing. The mean effective pressure reducing drastically. If mean effective pressure is reducing, means indicate this torque will reduce. Next, this is the one more representation of the all heat transfers. We supplied fossil fuel, some mass flow rate, m mass flow rate of the fossil fuel, petrol or diesel supplied. This is the supply heat. How it is converted, that is important, because according to first law of thermodynamics, energy neither created nor destroyed. It can change one form to another form, that's all. So I supplied fossil fuel to the engine, mass flow rate into calorific value. I supplied fossil fuel to the engine. How it is converting this chemical energy to the different forms of energy. One is useful energy, is the brake power. Okay, heat equivalent of the brake power you will get, that is only the useful. Next, heat carried by the cooling water. How we are determining the heat carried by the cooling water means simply mass flow rate of the cooling water into cooling water inlet and outlet minus inlet, then you can calculate the heat carried by the cooling water. Next, heat carried away by the exhaust. Here how we are calculating heat carried by the exhaust gases means mass flow rate, specific heat of the exhaust gas, and T temperature of exhaust gas minus ambient. Here there is no inlet outlet. Exhaust gas is coming. Suppose it is coming 90 degrees. We can utilize the heat 90 minus ambient. Ambient is 40 minus 90 minus 40 only useful heat. Remaining heat we can't use because ambient temperature already available 40. So heat carried by the exhaust gas we are calculating Tg minus T ambient. Then this 3 we calculated. Then after remaining all unknown losses, unaccounted losses. What are unaccounted losses? Indirectly, circulating pumps is there. For circulating, we are using pumps, water circulation. Second thing, for lubrication pumps, we are using lubrication pumps also. These all are connected to the crankshaft only, and camshaft. The camshaft also direct, and radiator blower fan. It is also directly connected to the crankshaft. So these all are unaccounted losses. We can't measure inbuilt inside the engine. So we can't measure the energy consumption for this outputs. So these all combinedly we are called unaccounted losses. Then after calculating this one, we are giving balance sheet. This is the heat supply, 100%. Heat equivalent brake power, how much you produced, heat carried by the jacket water, heat carried by the exhaust gas, and total heat supply minus A plus B plus C means brake power, heat carried by the cooling system, heat carried by the lubrication system. It will give the unaccounted loss. If these unaccounted losses are increasing means somewhere the pumps not working properly, or the V-belt joint. Generally V-belt we are using because less slip is there compared to chain drive or general flat belts. If any slip is increases, then we rectify. We are replacing that belts, or replacing the pumps, and we replacing with the new pumps, circulating pumps or blower fan. After giving this heat balance sheet only, we came to know actually what happening. Otherwise, we can't understand the actual heat balances where the overheat loss is taking place. Next, come to the representation of the that heat balance sheet with respect to engine speed. SI engines we are representing by engine speed. CA engines we are representing by the power output. Why? Because CA engines we can use for power generation, electrical energy generation, for generators generally low capacity generator, less than 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt, like that in commercially used generators, all are CI engines only. So by speed we are giving means there is no use. So CI engines by power output we are giving heat balance sheet. For SA engines by speed, why? Because SA engines 100% we are using for automobile application only. So these are the speed I am increasing, useful energy is reducing, unaccounted losses are increasing. Here also, if I am increasing power output, useful work is increasing. Coolant losses are reducing. Why? Because overheat of engine means we can reduce the knocking tendency. The knocking tendency you are reducing means you are gaining more energy. But unaccounted losses are increasing. Coolant losses are reducing, unaccounted losses are increasing. Why? Because pump speed increasing, blower speed increasing, lubricating pump speed increasing. So energy consumption is increasing. So this is the heat balance sheets of the SA engine and CA engine. Okay, tomorrow class we will discuss about the exhaust gases. What are the norms of the exhaust gases? What are the exhaust gases available in the pollutants? What are the pollutants? We will discuss IC engine exhaust gas thoroughly. Later we will solve some problems also. Okay, with this I am ending the session.